Welcome back to Armored Academy of Arizona. We're going to do another round breakdown. Just as a reminder, we'll be doing this again on Friday, so be sure you subscribe so that you get the notification it's coming in. Today we've got a little 2-on-2 going on. We've got Vince here, we've got Belinda, Daniel, and Pike. And they're going to do some 2-on-2 fighting, so let's get into it. You can see right away, Belinda typically plays as a rail. Daniel also plays as a rail. You can see these two lock up right away. Vince wastes no time. He's coming in. He's going to try and hook this axe over the top of Daniel. And we'll see how this works. He's got a pretty good hold on Daniel. Now Pike's being a little unconventional here. He's got a greatsword. He's coming in. He gets a good hit on the back. Could have used a little bit more hips on those hits to cause some damage, but greatswords actually, they sting a little bit. Belinda's doing a good job of basing out. You can see that she has a really strong base here, and she's got her back against that rail, so she's actually very strong here. Daniel's about twice her size, pushing on her, so if she can hold up to that, I mean, it's obviously a good base. But one thing Daniel's doing that is working pretty good here is he's shuffling his feet this way, which is causing her to have to also shuffle her feet. So let's see how this plays out. Shuffling, and she finally got caught up on the rail a little bit there, I think. Let's back this up just a hair. Yeah, looks like she got hung up. And that little bit of a shuffle, I mean, anytime you're doing a throw of any kind, if you can add a little bit of a shuffle like that, is really gonna help with your throw quite a bit. So let's go back and take a look at what's going on with Pike and Vince. See, Vince is getting around. Yeah, so Vince goes for an Osotogari here. You can see he's got his leg wrapped around, and he's trying to get that, but you know, there's a problem here. He's got his arm around Pike pretty good, but he's not pulling it into his chest like a pec fly. And also, you can barely, it's dark on the video, but there's a little bit of space between him and Pike. He really needs to get this shoulder shoved into his armpit in order to really make this work. So he's outside a little bit, and Pike starts to reverse it. If you watch right in here, you can see that Vince ended up going back, but he did a good job of abandoning this throw when it wasn't working out for him, and he caught himself just fine. So then they start heading for the rail. And Daniel's come over. He's trying to figure out what he needs to do to help. I believe he was on Pike's team, so he's trying to get around. So, you know, we saw Vince doing some punching in here. Those are good for disorienting your opponent, maybe get them to turn their head, that kind of thing. You're not usually going to do much damage there unless their helmet isn't padded properly or not strapped properly, something like that. But typically you don't do a lot of damage with that, but you do get an opportunity to distract them. And it's not a bad setup. Daniel has come in, and Daniel is isolating that right arm of Vince. So he's taking that arm out of commission. Let's see what happens next. Alright, so let's wind it up just a little bit. So Daniel has that arm pretty well caught. He's got his hips turned this way, so he's now pulling that way. Vince has a hold of Pike, and if he could maintain that hold, he would. And if Pike resisted pretty well, it would end up being a tug of war between Daniel and Pike, with Vince as the rope, and that's a good place for Vince to be. These two guys can wear each other out trying to counter each other, but that isn't what happens here. As you can see, Pike begins pushing and helping Daniel go. Now, Daniel ends up going down as well. He did. This is unclear exactly how this played out. So you can see the greatsword down here, and Daniel had his hands on Vince. And these are both interesting points. So the greatsword got stuck in between Pike and Vince, which is a good teachable moment. You can see Vince has his axe on the outside. That makes sure that his axe doesn't get caught up between him and his opponent. He can, maybe use the haft, or at least it's available to him. If he gets separated, he'll be able to use it. It won't be caught up on something. But Pike has that greatsword right in between them. And so when Vince goes down, that greatsword is stuck. Now, Daniel, you can see he's got he's on one leg, but he never goes down to a knee or anything. He had a hand down here, and he had a hand on top of Vince. So technically, that's 3 points of contact. And it's worth noting that different leagues have different rules about this stuff. One league will say you can put a hand or both hands on your opponent to catch yourself and then stand back up, but you can't put your hand on the ground. There's another league that says you could go all the way to one knee on the ground, and as long as you pop back up right away, you're not considered down. If you go down and you stay down, that's different. You're not allowed to do that. But he doesn't do that. He actually pops right back up. He's still got his axe, so I mean, technically Daniel is okay here. He followed all the rules. He's the one that's still up. So it's interesting because it sure looks like he's down, but he's not. He gets back up. He's good to go. So Daniel and Pike win this round. So that was a good job on those guys' part, and I really liked how Daniel used shuffling steps in that throw, and also in the takedown with Vince. And it was good teamwork on Pike's part to push rather than pull with Vince in between there. So that's working together good, and that's very good for teamwork. So I hope you enjoyed this round breakdown. We'll be doing it again on Friday, and make sure you subscribe, hit the like, do all that stuff. And if you're in the Arizona area and this looks like something you think maybe you'd like to do, come on out and try one of our classes for free. It's martial arts style training and fitness, endurance, that kind of thing. So come on out and give it a try. See you on Friday.